start this. I'm going to start recording. Nick, as when I hit it, you hit it because we're going to record.
Hit it. It's hit.
Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This is the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again with your host Nick Scopes and the Gregolicious. You know how we do, cause you know we keeping it gangster and silly. Unplugged like a full swung titty. About get jitty, cause you know we down to the nitty and the gritty. And we make shit sound so damn pretty. Yeah, cause this unhinged comedy. And right now you're in the mix, so get ready, cause we about to get it poppin', and we ain't stopping. I'm educated, unfiltered, unhinged. It's the Mangina Dialogue.
Oh, man. Hello. Welcome to the Mangina Dialogues. I'm your host, Nick Scopes.
And I'm the Gregolicious.
Oh, my God. Caitlin, what'd you think of that? Oh, our guest today.
Oh.
That was so embarrassing for so many reasons, man.
I'm literally blushing.
I gotta know who was rapping on that. Was that both of you?
Yes, it was Nick. We recorded it in his bathroom.
Nope.
Oh, beautiful. You know what? I love it when two men can come together in a bathtub and just rap about being silly. That's wonderful.
It was a shower. No, you know, it's the best $15 you could spend online and have someone create a insane theme song.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool that someone actually did that for you, and someone was like, "Oh, Mangina, perfect."
I got some lyrics that are perfect for this.
Give me 4 minutes.
And you know what? We're doing this on Zoom, and it's the first time we've actually done a Zoom episode interview.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew how to share a screen to it because there's a video that goes along with it that's two puppets. It would have been amazing to watch the puppets, listen to the song, watch us watching you. It would have been fantastic.
Oh my God, there's puppets involved. This is, you know what, a new level of creativity.
Let's call it creativity, yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You guys just fisting puppets and rapping about being silly.
Fisting puppets. We don't spare any expense on this podcast.
Good. Proud of you.
Anyway, so what's going on with you?
Yeah.
You know, nothing new, but I think I might have an activity for later with me and my boyfriend. We're going to have a good time.
Hey, you got any puppets around?
Yeah, we got a bathtub. Here we go.
I'd say videotape it, but that's a totally different kind of podcast.
Yes. Yeah, that's a different time.
So how are things in New York?
Things are good, I think. They're fine. We went to Target yesterday for the first time in a couple weeks to get some supplies, and it was a nightmare. And we're like, oh, never again.
Yeah.
But everything's so backed up, you can't even order groceries online. So it was like we had no choice but to go. And luckily I have a car, so it wasn't like we had to take the subway, but it was still not great.
I went to Target yesterday also.
Mm-hmm.
Only because
now, where are you guys?
We're in Connecticut.
Oh.
I just wanted some bacon and I feel like going to the grocery store. So I figured Target was my best bet.
Mm-hmm.
And I scored bacon.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, me too.
There's been massive lines everywhere, like Trader Joe's. You have to wait outside, and like they have to. It's like a nightclub. They like wait to let you in. They have to like count. They keep count. This is crazy. I can't believe it.
Man, that would be awesome if they put velvet ropes outside of Trader Joe's and they had a couple like old school bouncers outside, like bringing people in like they used to at the nightclubs in the city. Like, no, you're not dressed well enough. Nope.
Yeah. They're like, show us your reusable bags or you don't get it.
Do you have hand sanitizer?
Yeah. You got a mask? Get on in here.
So what have you been doing to stay busy now that obviously there's no shows?
Well, I mean, I've two things. I had a podcast that I've been recording for 2 years, but never released because I didn't have time. And so I released that finally. Shameless plug. Good time, gal. Hello. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you. And then the other thing, I've actually been doing a lot of Zoom shows. either on Instagram Live, YouTube Live, and Zoom. And they're actually a lot of fun if you just surrender to the fact that this is not at all comedy. This is me shouting into the void. And if you like accept that, then they can be a lot of fun because you're telling jokes you would never ever tell again. So it's not like you're burning material if they do record it. So you just have fun with it.
Are those the shows people are like donating money to for the people that are performing on them? Like I've seen some of those.
Yeah, a lot of them, like you just put up your Venmo or your PayPal. And like one show, I just put up my Venmo and I made like $60. So someone was like, thanks so much for the laughs. Like 4 different people donated, which was nice. I also run a show on YouTube Live, and we do like a donations button, and you can make good money. It's called Something Good. Another shameless plug. We're having fun.
All good. Plug all the shit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very busy doing nothing. Does that make sense? Like I have been so productively sitting and eating Lucky Charms. That's all I've been doing.
You know, a lot of people eating Lucky Charms.
They're so good. I mean, come on. They're marshmallows inside of your cereal.
And they make the milk change colors.
They do. And I added that milk to my coffee. It was perfect.
Ooh.
I mean,
wow. What a fucking
I now have diabetes,
gangster.
but it's so good.
Dude, what a move. That's great.
I haven't eaten cereal in so long. I was never like a cereal fan or a cereal eater. I don't know if they're cereal fans. But I think I missed out because all of my old ass adult friends like couldn't be happier sitting in front of a bowl of cereal, no matter what it is, and eating it like they were 5-year-olds. There's some joy in cereal.
Oh yeah, cereal, and it's so easy. That's what I like about it. You don't have to cook eggs. You don't have to make the bacon. I mean, God bless you and your patience with that bacon. But
no.
cereal,
Let me go backwards. So I bought pre-cooked bacon. So all you do is throw it in the microwave for 30 seconds. It's done. I am not standing over a greasy pan getting splattered with boil and burning myself. I'm not doing that. I take my strips of bacon. They're already done. Throw them in like paper towel for like 20 seconds. Done.
You eat microwaved bacon, but you've never had cereal?
No, I've had cereal. I went to summer camp. Nick, what's your favorite cereal? Protein powder?
No, I haven't had. Sure. As long as it's paleo and Whole30 approved, but and locally sourced. But also, no, I guess my favorite. I haven't had cereal in such a long time, but when I was in college, they had cereals out all the time. Cinnamon Toast Crunch was my go-to.
That's a solid choice. Solid.
I used to even eat it. I remember as a kid, I would just eat it like out of the box, like no milk, just with my hands as a small child. Well, I wasn't a small child, but just, you know.
You should see Nick's baby pictures.
Oh, were you a little plumper?
Little bit. Then I got super lean, and then now I'm 220 pounds, and this is just the girth I walk around. I've been this height.
Is that big?
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't show in your face. That's why I asked.
Oh,
I can only see your face. You have a very narrow face.
Nick, stand up. Let's see all of you.
Okay. Will you Venmo me money if I do?
What would make today different than any other day?
I'm only Venmoing if I get nipple. That's right.
You don't even know what you're about to see.
Oh my God. No, I can't.
Girthy nipple is what you just described yourself as.
I was watching your set on Colbert, and you said you like pretty boys, so that's just not me. I'm a big Italian gorilla.
Well, I'm the big Italian gorilla in my relationship. My boyfriend is very pretty. And he's small. You know, he's a dainty little prince. And then I'm the big Italian gorilla. So
really,
a dainty little prince. You met my boyfriend, the dainty little prince.
Mm-hmm. He loves it. I carry him to safety. We have a good time.
Have you always been attracted to pretty men?
I have, yeah. I've always liked them pretty, and and then I've also, like, all my other boyfriends, they've all been like kind of bad boys. Like my last boyfriend had a ton of tattoos, but still had a very pretty face. And then I realized that a lot of times bad boys don't have their shit together, and that is awful. So I moved on I kept the pretty part, and then just got a guy who has his shit together. So
Beautiful.
that was a big upgrade, I would say, for me.
Is he in comedy?
He is. I don't know if you guys know him, Steven Rogers.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Because it's also the name of Captain America.
There you go.
You
Yeah.
call him,
What
do you
is
call
this?
him Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers only when he's naughty.
Oh, does he have a good sweater collection?
Damn,
Zero
girl.
sweaters, thank God.
No cardigans, keeping it spicy.
Not yet, but he's still in his 20s. So
How old are you?
I am 32.
Same age. Woo.
Hell yeah, we're killing it. Don't tell the industry.
Are we considered old? I don't know.
Well, women, if you're over 27, then you're like ancient. So
Good to know.
I'd be two women.
what's that?
I said I'd be two women.
You'd be two women.
Oh, age-wise,
An
definitely.
age joke for Nikki's an asshole.
So let's talk. I love how you had to get to it before I made fun of you for it. That was good.
I'm heading it off.
He's gonna do it anyway.
Yeah,
Definitely
exactly.
will.
So let's talk about your comedy career. So
Sure,
you
yeah.
are from San Francisco,
hmm
but you ended up going to New York. Now, was that for comedy or was that for school?
That was for school. I went to Pratt I have a master's degree, if you can believe it. I went to school for art and then ended up staying, and then 2 years later started comedy and then just never left, because New York is, I was very lucky. I knew nothing about what I was doing, and then I just started comedy in the place where comedy is king. And so I felt really lucky that I happened to start comedy there and not in like butt fucking nowhere, where I applied to other schools. So yeah, I got really lucky. And then I've been doing it. I'm in year 6 now of doing comedy.
And what got you to start? What was the reason you started?
I hate to make it all about men, but although this is the mangina monologues.
Dialogues. More than one.
Same thing.
Okay. I went through a breakup and I always wanted to try it. And then I went through a breakup and I was like drinking every day. And I finally was like, I got to do something. And so I found like this, it was like an open forum, like a seminar on how to get started in stand-up comedy. It was obviously by like this guy who was just trying to make money off of comedy, which is fine, live your life. And I went, and then at the end of it, they gave away a free class by taking a name out of a hat, and they pulled my name out of the hat. And so I had no choice but to take the class and then try it. And then I didn't stop. It's been like an addiction. So
Really?
yeah, it's been crazy. Like in New York, you can get up 25, 30 times a week just with open mics. And so I did like a year or 2 years of that, and then started getting booked on shows and stuff like that. But it was no friends for a long time. I really healed from that breakup, threw myself completely into comedy, and talked about his small penis the whole time. I'm just kidding.
Comedy is how people do get over everything.
Pretty much. It is. It's like a way of acceptance and
You want to solve
healing.
your life's problems? Become a stand-up comedian. You'll get over it real fast.
Yeah, something about repeating your problems out loud to strangers and having them judge you. It's like, I'm fine. I'll be fine.
I mean, I get it. Like I did probably like 4 open mics while I was in a relationship, and then we broke up last April actually. And then it was like full bore a couple times a week, then doing shows with this idiot and him making me host a mic that we started at a bar in Connecticut. And then it was just like, it hasn't stopped.
I mean, it's also like, it cures that loneliness real fast because you're surrounded by people, hypothetically, if you're doing okay, you're surrounded by people. But yeah, some people are at an open mic all by themselves, and that's called the bathroom. But it's a good way to just like, they say the best way to get over a man is to sleep with another. That, the other man was comedy for me, I guess. But
Got you.
Safety first.
Safety first. Yeah, I used a condom on all the microphones.
Imagine you just get up there and just roll one down on the mic every time.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Can never be too safe.
That's fucking hilarious. hilarious.
Do that, Nick. Nick, start bringing out condoms.
I don't know.
It's
It's not sanitary or cool. I don't really know.
You can bring it to the shitty mics and bring out like small ones, and to the good mics, bring out the big ones.
The magnums. I got them. So anyway, where were we talking about? What's up?
Who knows?
So now you've been doing this 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
You've opened for some big names. You got on Stephen Colbert. That set I watched today was fucking great.
Oh, thank you.
Very
I
funny.
appreciate it.
Greg and I were actually talking about this before. We've never seen anyone do like crowd work on a late night set. And,
yeah.
like when you talked about your thighs, like don't look away. I was like, this is fucking great. This is hilarious.
I can't remember ever seeing a camera go to the audience while someone's doing a late night stand-up set. I mean, I'm sure there must be one somewhere, but I can't remember ever seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Jessica Pilot, who books it, she found me at a comedy festival and then at a club, West Side Comedy Club. She was there, and I was, the first show I knew she was there. And so I did my clean material, very TV-friendly robot. And then the next show, she didn't contact me, so I assumed she didn't like me. And so I just let it rip. I was filthy. I was doing crowd work. I was, pretty gross. And then she comes running up to me afterwards and was like, we have to work together. And I was like, okay. So they made me use a lav mic. And they told me just to go crazy. They were like, you can't cross this line, but do whatever you want. They were really nice about it. They wanted me to move around the stage. They wanted me to engage with people. So as long as I didn't curse and I stayed within the script that I had given them, they were like, go nuts.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, for a late night set, I mean, I've watched comics that I really, really like, and then I've watched their late night sets, and it's never as good, and it's usually they're just there in a suit, standing and delivering, and it's just not, it's like a watered down version of themselves. But
yeah,
it seemed like that was like for sure one of the most fun late night sets I've seen. I'm like, oh, this girl's fucking moving around. She's talking to the guy in the front row. Like, very different, very different. I'm not just saying that because you're in front of me, but
yeah. I mean, I guess I was lucky in that I was new to it, so I didn't realize that it was different. I've seen plenty of them, but it didn't occur to me that I was doing something out of the norm. Because to me, I was like, oh, these are just my jokes, and this is how I tell them. And they want me to do that, so I will do that. I think if I did know, I probably would have freaked out a little bit more and be like, oh, should I change it? Oh, is this what I'm not supposed to do? No. But luckily, Jessica and her boss, I forget his name, but they were both like, nope, just you do you, go nuts. And I was like, okay.
Were you nervous?
Oh, I was shitting my pants. Oh my God. My whole family flew out from San Francisco. My dad was backstage with me. And then right before, they're about to call my name. The warm-up comic is on stage. And they're about to call my name to come out. And I had done 30 to 35 sets that week just running the set.
Wow.
And I looked at my friend in the eyes and I started rapid fire saying my set. And then I said it wrong. Huh. And I was like, oh no. And then we both like looked at each other and they're like, Caitlin, you're up. And I'm like, ah! Oh no. And I went on stage thinking that I was going to screw it, but muscle memory kicked in and it was fine. Because once you get the first laugh, you're like, oh, this is just another show.
Do you remember, do you remember the entire set as if you would were there? Like, because I know sometimes when I've done stuff, I do it and the adrenaline's so high that when I'm done, I have no memory of what just happened.
Correct. That is exactly. I didn't even remember meowing at the guy until I watched it like 2 months ago to send it to get it captioned so that I could release them as clips. Yeah. And I was like, I meowed at that man. I can't believe it. The only two things I do remember is getting on stage and immediately seeing my family, and they were thrilled. And then I remember about halfway through, I was like, if you're halfway through, you haven't fucked up yet. Do not fuck up. And then I think that's the point when I meowed at the man, and I was like, well, who knows?
That's funny.
Yeah.
So close. So close.
I know, so close. And then I went "Rawr," at this poor, I'm pretty sure he was gay. Poor little gay man who was like, ah!
She mad at me.
Like,
He
leave me
looked
alone,
terrified.
lady.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, I shouldn't. Anybody but you. Good Lord.
Well, he's got a clip for the rest of his life that he can show his friends.
Yeah, where he's looking terrified at a woman about to eat him. Yeah.
So in your set, one of the things I noticed, you mentioned about how you were always a bigger girl growing up. Dad put you in sports.
Yeah.
And they used to call you a beast. Like, you're a beast. Now, is that, I'm going to assume your other podcast, you have Beasts of Sports. That's the name because of that reason? Is that why?
Yeah. Beasts, I was a beast or the enforcer playing sports because I was truly this size when I was, I think, 11 or 12, and I'm 5'8", and so that's humongous. And I was pretty angry, so I kept hitting people. I should have done boxing or something like that, but I instead did soccer, and I really just, yeah. And then my podcast Beasts, yeah, it's loosely based on sports. I mostly like the gossip part. I like to talk to comics about, when'd you get laid? Were you cool and like all that shit,
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, what position you played? And then who gave you your first blowjob? Like it's, I really go off the rails, but Beasts, yeah, mostly because of the joke. Yeah.
Wow. Now, did you play college sports as well?
I did. I was a red shirt at UC San Diego for soccer. I did that for a year, and then I discovered alcohol and didn't make the team the next year, but I ended up playing on their club team, which was a much better fit. It was no more double days. It was like practice just 3 to 4 times a week instead of double days.
Why didn't you make the team?
Oh, I was so out of shape.
No.
Yeah, I was out of shape. I was drinking all the time, and I also didn't love it. I didn't make a lot of friends with the girls on the team, and I was just like, fuck this. Why the hell? And I was the last person to get cut. So yeah, I think if I had not drank so much and really wanted it, I think I would have still played, but no, and now I think back and I was like, why did you even play that 1 year? That was so stupid. You didn't what was I going to go pro? Get out of here. It was no, it was so silly.
What position in soccer did you play?
I was offensive center mid, and then I moved to defense on the club team because I was so big and aggressive that they would just put me on the fragile forward who was like, I'm fast, and I would just hit them before they could start running. That was my.
That's so funny. It's like the guy in the hockey team that's only in charge of going out and just starting fights and beating the shit out of people.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I remember one time I hit a girl who she was UC Santa Barbara, and she used to play for the collegiate team, and then she moved down to the club team. And she was taller than me. She was almost 6 foot, and I just kept hitting her and hitting her and hitting her. And then I hit her one time, and she was on the floor, and she looked up at me, and she started crying, and she goes, "Why are you doing this?" And then I laughed like a psychopath. I laughed in her face. That's insane. That's an insane thing for people to do.
That's
and I did that.
Though.
That's
I think about her in my dreams. I feel so bad about it. I'm like, oh my God, she's already feeling bad because she's no longer on the college team. Then she's getting her ass kicked by this fucking club asshole, and then she gets laughed at while she's crying. That's horrific. I scarred that poor woman for life. If she's out there, I'm so sorry. I've changed. I'm a nice person now, but anytime anything bad happens in my life, I'm like, that's karma for that one thing that I did.
She's going to show up at a comedy show, and you're going to roar at her.
Yeah, I'm going to meow at her, and she's going to be like, what the fuck? Leave me alone.
I picture you the whole time you were describing your soccer career and how you were in the as an enforcer. I'm picturing you running around with a lit cigarette in your mouth, just fucking annihilating girls.
A lit cigarette. That's the Adam Sandler version.
Yeah, that's Ladybugs with Ronnie James Travolta.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
I watched that movie recently. I loved it as a kid because my dad was my coach, and my dad loved Rodney, and so we were like, oh, this is Dad, you know. And I watched it recently. It does not hold up. Holy shit.
It's not a classic.
No, there's a lot of kid fucking jokes. There's a lot of tranny jokes. There's a lot of like.
Hold up in that regard.
Yeah, it's like.
Is it still funny though, or is it like?
I mean, it made me laugh a few times just because it's Rodney.
Yeah.
But like everything else, you're like, I don't think he could say that now. There was a lot of like Asian jokes, and it's like, what the fuck? How did they get away with this? Then you realize it was a different time.
It was a different time, all of like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
So besides being the athlete, were you always the funny one growing up?
I was the loud one. I wasn't really funny. I didn't know how to be funny, like in a joke structure way. I was just trying to make people laugh by being outrageous. That was my big thing. I remember my boyfriend, the one that I broke up with and then started doing comedy, that boyfriend, I told him I wanted to do comedy, and he said, well, I think you're entertaining, not necessarily funny. And I was like, fuck you. Yeah. And then I realized that he was probably right. But now I am funny and entertaining. God damn it. I'll kill him in his sleep. I don't know.
I'll kill him in his sleep.
I'll kill him in his sleep. I will. But yeah, I was always like the class clown-ish, but not really with jokes, more like just with act outs and being silly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Were you guys funny?
No, I'm not funny at all.
No, were you?
Greg was definitely not. Me, yeah. But I would say, yeah, I was definitely a little bit of the goofball of class.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. I fucked around so much in school.
I only passed a college course. I took this course. Well, I took nutrition, thinking that was going to be an easy class for me to pass, and I was absolutely failing it miserably. And the only reason the teacher passed me is because she gave me a D- and with a note that said, "You passed because you made this funny."
Hell yeah. That's beautiful.
I was like, that's great. I went home to my mom. I'm like, look at this. I passed because I made class funny. It was my proudest moment.
I mean, to make a nutritionist laugh has got to be really hard. Okay. They think obesity is mortifying. So you must have had some good jokes in there, I feel like.
It was more just making fun of people.
Same. The only reason I got by in school is because teachers liked me. Like, that was it. I don't
know how that's even possible.
I was not a good student. I was none of that. They were just like wanted to help me because I wasn't a dick. They were just like, oh, he's slow.
What changed?
Yeah, definitely changed without a doubt. So Caitlin, what's next for you now? Because now you don't know when the next time you're gonna get on stage. Yeah. Neither do I. So, you say you're doing the podcast and stuff, but
yeah, I mean, doing the podcast, doing both of them now, doing my live show now, just trying to reschedule all the dates that I have coming up, because I think at the beginning of next year I was hoping to record an album, and I just got to try and get those dates back so it seems plausible, I guess, because I wouldn't want to record an album on Zoom, Yeah. That would be a nightmare. But I think that's like the hope, to do an album. But I mean, then again, who knows? It might suck, so I might not do it. My self-esteem is through the roof, if you haven't noticed.
I was gonna say, Jesus Christ, like you'll be fine. You'll I think, I don't know when the next time I'm gonna be on stage is, but I don't know. What do you think people are going to be slow to like come back and be like, all right, let's all pile in a room together? Or,
I mean, I was just talking to my friend Ronan about this. I don't know if you guys know Ronan Hirschberg. He's another comic out of New York. He just did Corden. He's great. But he and I were talking about it. We were like, okay, I think the road's going to open up, like middle of the country. I think that's going to open up sooner, because I don't think it didn't get hit as hard.
Yeah.
So I think the road rooms are actually going to be open sooner, and the big names are going to go out on the road. And then eventually, hopefully the clubs in New York will open up either at half capacity or something. And the lesser people like myself, who's not a draw anywhere, would do the clubs. That's like, fingers crossed. Let's hope that that's what happens. But
Yeah.
I don't think the clubs are going to go back right away to what they were in terms of full capacity. Not in New York City, I don't think.
Yeah, probably not. Just because the whole way comedy clubs are usually set up is it's just people on people on people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful that it starts to open up sooner than later, at least in some kind of half capacity way to get back. I don't think anything's full capacity till at least the fall.
Yeah.
More out of just precaution, not necessarily either fear or people are sick and spreading. It's just more precautionary and
yeah, just so that we don't have to do this all over again in the winter. Yeah, I mean, it's been the first week I was like, I can do this, and then I missed comedy so much I had like a huge withdrawal, and then now I'm like, how am I going to make money? What the hell am I going to do? This was my only job. Oh my God. And then it's like another month of this. I was like, shit.
Just hoping these checks from the government keep coming in. Like, they can sending me $1,000. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. And I mean, I haven't gotten unemployment yet. But I got approved for it, but I just haven't gotten any money yet. So, and I don't even know how much I'm getting. So I'm just like, poor.
Well, the good news is when you get that first check, it'll be like a giant surprise of a whole basket full of money.
Okay. Really?
I think so, because it's you don't like if you file today, but you've been unemployed for 3 weeks, you don't lose that 3 weeks. You get that 3 weeks.
Oh, great.
It's retroactive to when, you were unemployed, especially now that it's taken people 5 weeks to get their unemployment filed.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll come through. Thank you. We're talking this out. Okay. Caitlin needs a little bit of boost. I appreciate you letting me know that a big check is coming, because I've had 4 heart attacks just this morning being like, where is it?
You look good for 4 heart attacks.
Thank you. Thank you. I am wearing my pajamas, but I appreciate it.
So am I. I got my pajama pants. I put a shirt on. That's it. That's
good for you. You look, I would say like, you look like the most put together with your hat and then the drawstrings. You look very like cool. I see the Nordic in the back, but you're a man working on yourself. I like that. That's right. Is that an elliptical? What is that?
It's a, Nick, what do you call that thing?
Inversion table.
It's an inversion table for a back. If you, what I have.
Hang upside down.
There's a Peloton in the corner too.
Oh, you got a Peloton? This bitch has got money. Look at you.
No, this bitch had a friend at Peloton.
Oh, okay. Well, you need to get that friend's number.
Greg's my sugar daddy. So,
I mean, and it's a nice, you got trim. Look at you. Is that a fireplace? You got a great place there, Greg. Yeah.
It's faux. It's a faux fireplace.
It's a faux fireplace. Still
have you ever used it?
No, it doesn't work. It's not.
Oh my God.
It's decorative.
It's
That's
decorative.
Cute.
Hey, this bitch can afford decorative fireplaces. That's pretty good, Greg.
That guy's an asshole.
Yeah, we fucking hate Greg.
Are you married, Greg, or is that your choice with the faux fireplace?
I am married. Yes, it was not my choice.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's okay. That's good. I was like, that looks really nice. For a single guy with a faux fireplace, that's a lot.
Well, I could be a pretty boy.
You
with a bunch of sweaters and ties, ascots.
Yes, yeah. Actually, if a boyfriend ever wore an ascot, I would just choke him with it. That's weird.
Perfect. You'd probably like it. Nick definitely would like it.
Nick, you saucy bird.
Never been called that before. I love it.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
That's gonna be the title of the episode. So listen, we obviously had you scheduled on a show out here in Connecticut, which we have to reschedule as soon as we freaking have an idea when we can open.
Yeah.
So that's on our agenda.
Yeah.
And so you're releasing all these podcasts and.
Yeah, I have 3 out right now. I release them all at once. And then they come out every Wednesday for a Good Time Gal. Which is not porn. I realized that Good Time Gal means porn. I didn't know that.
They can take it out of your phone.
Yeah, I was like, this is new to me. It's just about drunk stories. Like, that's what it is. It's like, they're all just like short stories about the time you've made an idiot of yourself. And then my friend was like, no, that's porn. Like, I didn't know that. Apparently a good time gal is down for anything. And while it is not inaccurate, it is still not what this podcast is about.
Your friend tell you, no, that's porn.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Casey James Solenko told me, and I was like, what? It was traumatizing, but he's also on the pod. So that's
nice. Like live readings of Penthouse forums.
Yeah. I actually did an interview with a woman yesterday for Beasts, where she holds the world record for, I don't know if I should say this on this podcast, but we'll find out.
Say it.
She holds a world record for amount of volume while squirting. Yeah. Isn't that incredible? It's incredible. She had a party. It was circus themed. 300 people came. She squirted over 4.5 cups worth of liquid and then auctioned it off and sold it, and a man drank it.
Oh my God.
Isn't that incredible? Oh. You can be anything in this world. Isn't that cool?
Fine, but I did not see that ending coming, and that really threw me.
Definitely have to change the coding on YouTube to not child friendly on this one.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but that was nuts. So I interviewed her, and she told me that she's making audio porn, and I was like, oh, so it is a thing. But that's like, it's basically her talking. It's like dirty talk, so that men can or people can masturbate. And I was like, oh, okay.
I guess for people that don't have any form of handheld cell phone or computer, or if they need that in their car while they're driving to work.
Yeah, I guess it's just another element. Like, keep it spicy. Why not? And she told me that was the thing. And I was like, huh, okay. So I hope that people aren't looking up Good Time Gal and expecting that. And instead hearing about, the one time someone blacked out and like fucked a stripper or something like that. So
filled 4.5 cups worth.
I know. I was like, I don't even think I could pee that much. That's insane. What is the liquid? What is it?
Can't. Like, where is that coming from?
It's
literally,
just pee, isn't it? Girls squirting is just pee, correct?
No, it's not. It's something else, because apparently maximum amount of pee that can come out of your body is 3 cups, and she did 4.5. So there's something else in there, baby.
Did she have a Guinness world record?
She tried to get a Guinness World Record, but they said they're a family company, and so they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't send a judge out there, but she was like,
judge.
But she was like, in order to get a world record, you have to have a certain amount of people come and watch you, and so that's why she made the party, and she did 300 plus people.
What's this girl's name? What's her name?
Lola Jean.
Lola Jean.
Yeah, God. She's incredible. She also wrestles men for money. Like, she's amazing. Yeah, that episode is out tomorrow, so make sure you listen to that one. There's plenty where that came. I mean, like,
up at midnight to listen to that. I
blew my mind
to know, how did you find her?
She is dating my co-host.
Interesting.
Yeah, curveball. I didn't know until I listened. We were on the podcast talking, and she was like, yeah, we're dating, didn't you know? I was like, no, bitch, I didn't know. Oh. I didn't know that. I mean, like, now my co-host is 10 times cooler because he's dating you. You know what I mean? I thought he was like this dork, but turns out he's got a badass girlfriend.
I have so many more questions that I may just have to email them to you for a follow-up.
I mean, she's incredible. She is amazing. She teaches sex ed for adults, and she travels the world doing it. I mean, oh, God bless her.
Greg needs that for sure.
Does your co-host have rubber sheets? Like, what's the deal over there?
Well, apparently she also taught me that squirting is voluntary. Like, you can do, like, not fix, but like change the muscles to do it when you want to do it.
Huh.
I can't wait to listen to this episode.
She's incredible. Google her, Lola Jean.
I'm going to Google her, and it probably explains why your co-host has a target on his ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Like Wipeout.
Well,
and on that note,
yeah.
Right. Well, this was fun. This was good time.
So fun. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to come and do the show. Hopefully in June or July.
Yeah, hopefully June.
Us too. Yeah,
Really hope
June
Yeah,
would be
well,
nice.
I would love that. I gotta get those long sets in. So please God.
We got to get the hell out of the
June.
house.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, that Peloton is getting its working.
Yeah, I wish. All right, dude. Well, this was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And we will listen to that podcast tomorrow, and I will you'll learn something.
Have fun. Keep fisting those puppets, fellas.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.